Hello guppies! Today I wanted to do something kind of fun. So I have been reading the series The Legend of Drizzt since I was in 7th grade. And what I wanted to do today is go over the first 3 books in the series and just kind of touch on what makes them so special for me, you know, what drew me to them, what the books are. So it's kind of an introspective as well as a review at the same time. Now, the first book I'm going to go over, all of these are by the author R.A. Salvatore, by the way. I won't be including any of the side series spin-offs just yet. They're going to get their own thing, just like I'm going to do it trilogy by trilogy. So the first book we have in the series is Homeland. And I love this cover. It's by Todd Lockwood. And it opens up to make this beautiful city of Drizzt, Guinevere, and Menzoberranzan. Now, these books are really old. I've had them for years, and you can kind of tell. But essentially, what the books are about this dark elf whose name is Drizzt, and he's born into this matriarchal society where men are less than dirt, but better than slaves. So it kind of leads into that whole gender suppression. Now, for the first book, what we do is we follow our little protagonist, who is he's born in the beginning of the chapters, which leads his house to winning a massive battle that's going on. And in doing so, his older brother dies, and he gets to live because of the trade-off. The third son is always sacrificed, and so Drizzt was going to be the third son, but one of his brothers was killed by the other, which led to the sacrifice being transferred over to him instead. So Drizzt got to live because one of his brothers is a bastard. Now, the whole first part of the book is kind of following through when as he's young, he's kind of different. He's very soft and kind of playful, which is very strange for Drow. And his family kind of sees him as a little strange, but at the same time, he's got a lot of potential. And it follows him as he gets older and older, goes to the academy, goes to learn how to fight. Originally, he was actually going to be a sorcerer to replace the sorcerer's brother, who was killed on the night that he was born. Now, thankfully, he goes to his father kind of worries because he's very similar in a sense that he hates the lot that he's been given in life, and there's nothing he can do for any of his children or anything like that. And he kind of fears that his son, Drizzt, is going to turn out just the same as all the rest of his family. An absolute murderous, regretless creature that just kind of lives to follow the rules. And when Drizzt goes off to Melee Magthyr in order to learn how to be a fighter, his father is convinced that when he comes back, he's just going to be this murderous creature that's no longer his son. But thankfully, that isn't the case. And if I go any further, it's going to be a spoiler. So I'm not going to do any spoilers for these reviews. So that's going to be fun, trying to do this spoiler-free. So the next book in the list is called Exile. And it basically follows our protagonist Drizzt through, unfortunately, things go south. Things go south very much in the first book. And it leads Drizzt to being alone in the wilds of the Underdark. And he actually develops this persona called the Hunter to get through it. And he obtains a magical creature, like a magical artifact that turns into a panther, and that becomes his one and only companion out in the wilds of the Underdark. And this is also just another beautiful cover by Todd Lockwood. So it opens up here like this, and it's got Drizzt on the front here with a bunch of mind flayers, and then his father, Zactafane, is actually back here as well, and it's just such a nice touch. But so it kind of follows him as he slowly delves into a certain kind of madness until he meets a deep gnome whose name is Belwar, who helps him kind of come back, but through different circumstances, they end up parting ways. And it eventually leads into the third book of the series that is called Sojourn. And it is another beautiful Todd Lockwood piece. And it's got Drizzt here coming out of the Underdark. He's managed to find his way out of the cruel and unforgiving Underdark into the land of the sun, which is completely new territory for him. And you can actually see this is his teacher, Montolio, who teaches young Drizzt to be a druid throughout the series of the book. And Sojourn is just kind of fun because it's Drizzt, he's coming back from the kind of madness of being alone for years in the Underdark with only a panther companion. At one point, he even worries that he's going to forget how to speak because he doesn't talk to anybody but Gwen can't talk back. So when he comes up, he actually learns a bit of common from Montolio, and he learns how to be a ranger, and he kind of finds his place for a little bit until something happens and he has to essentially move on again. And at this point, he's still a very young elf. He's only like 60 years old at this point. So he's coming to terms with the fact that this place, whereas it was once home, is no longer home. So he tries to push forward and find a new place to survive, which leads him through a series of events to a place called Brunor's Climb. And that's where he meets his first, I don't want to say friend, he's almost a father figure. Brunor Battlehammer is an amazing character in and of himself. He is a dwarven king, and he has this little 8-year-old human child under his ward, who is named Catabri, and she's the most spitfire little thing on the face of the planet. And it kind of ties up around there, and then I won't go too much into that because, like I said, spoilers. But on my next video, I'll be going over the Icewind Dale trilogy, which is the next trilogy, and actually, interestingly, is the first 3 books. I said these are the first 3 books in the series, but these are not the first published books in the series. These were made after the Icewind Dale trilogy. And the Icewind Dale trilogy was our first introduction to Drizzt as a character, and I will be getting more into that in the next video. So stay safe and swim on, little guppies. And as before, if you have any suggestions, books that you would like me to go over as my dog goes crazy in the background, put them in the link below, put them in the chat box below. I'd love to hear your comments, concerns. What do you think of the Drizzt series? I know a lot of people hate it, but for me, it was this really important thing when I was younger, and I'll get more into that in another video. So you guys take care. Bye, guppies.